Hey everybody out there, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. You're in my corner and I have a returning guest to the corner. Would you like to unveil your identity?
Hello, everyone. This is Liam O'Brien piping in again over the interwebs. Howdy do.
It's actually really great to talk to you again because it's almost been about 2 years, I think, since we originally talked.
I cannot believe that it has been that long.
It's kind of insane to think about it. I didn't think, we would explode and exist for as long as we have.
That feels like less than a year ago.
It does. It really does. I remember that it was, I think, about a week or two before Darksiders came out. So you couldn't really say too much about it, but you could say a little bit about it. And it took me 6 months later to play and finish the game.
How'd you like it?
I loved it. It was a lot of fun. The beginning was kind of slow, which I understood because where's this big guy? You know, he's not going to be speeding around on a bullet train. But once you get the fire pony, it's all gravy.
Right, the most intimidating My Little Pony in existence. I love playing that game too. I have a big stack of shame, games that I don't get around to playing because I don't have time anymore between my kids and a very busy career. It just sort of grows and grows. I buy a few, I get free copies, and then I look at them longingly and wonder what it would be like to play. I think Darksiders might have been the last one I did from start to finish.
Well, see, I'm one of those people that I go after all the achievements or trophies. So I was one of those people that was like on the fire pony for like 3-4 hours going around in a circle over and over.
Such slim windows of time that I basically am making a beeline for the ending just so that I can figure out what happens.
I have to say, I guess spoiler alert if you haven't played Darksiders, but the end really got me because that was such a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I love the ending to it. It was great.
And
clearly setting up for the future.
And hopefully we see you in the next game. I know you probably can't confirm or anything, but I hear it's all about death this time.
I can confirm nor deny none of these things.
Understandable. Completely understandable.
I'm surrounded by firewalls of NDAs at all times.
Almost like the council.
It's like Reagan's Star Wars program. There's just satellites around the Earth that will zap me dead if I start talking.
Understandable. I do hope that we hear your performance again because they left it on such a good note to where you really wanted to play the next game. And I think it's really hard to do that in video games. I mean, you can do that with a movie and you're like, okay, the movie's going to come out, next year. But for a game, it takes a longer time for it to develop.
Right. Well, here's me knocking on wood.
Now, how about we ask you a very broad question? What other projects have you done in the past 2 years?
Oh, in the past 2 years that I can talk about. This is me vamping while I go to IMDb to remind myself of the stuff that has come out.
Well, I can help you because I know a few things that have come out.
I think, did Nier happen between then and now?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it did. I know I picked that up.
That was a favorite one of mine. I love voicing that book. Anything that's out of the ordinary is kind of a treat because, we play a lot of, elven warriors and knights and I play a lot of soldiers these days getting the poop kicked out of me. But it's nice when you get to do something out of the ordinary in a floating book who just talks smack to a gender-confused lady in the apocalypse as plus.
I remember the lady being very violent.
Yeah, a little bit of a potty mouth, kind of violent, and I was sort of a prissy, snooty, British book floating about.
I remember I didn't get far in that game. I was trying to kill all the sheep in the fields, and I know I got the book and I learned some basic spells, but I missed probably big chunks of the storyline for that one.
Well, some of the, there's a lot of games where I just play, Soldier B. I won't trouble you with that. But some of the things that I had fun on in the last couple of years, I got to play Tony Stark's father in the Captain America game. So that was a hoot. I got to do an episode of G.I. Joe Renegades. Maybe that was done like a year ago, playing a Red Star in there. What else? Catherine is all the rage right now. I worked on Catherine, which, do you know that game?
I do. I've played it like way too many times at this point because I've been trying to get all the endings. I actually really wanted to talk to you about that one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and fun not just because the property is insane and unique, which obviously it is, but also because everyone in the cast is sort of my tight-knit little circle of friends in LA. Troy Baker played the lead, and Travis Willingham and Laura Bailey, Yuri Lowenthal, all played prominent roles in that, and I see them all the time. And so it really didn't feel like acting. It felt like sort of shooting the poo around the coffee machine.
I mean, it was kind of an interesting game. I mean, your character I thought was the most intriguing because you seemed the most for sure with Catherine with a C, like go for it. What's wrong with her? Just cheat a little.
Right. Well, he was nursing a boo-boo from a long time ago, so I think that's part of the reason why he was so vocal about it.
That's true. At least we get to see how that boo-boo turns out in one of the endings.
Right. He's got a sweet side, after all.
How'd you feel being a sheep, by the way?
A sheep? Oh, that's no problem. I've done dogs. I think I did an elk once. I've done a lot of dogs. What else? I've played vegetables in the past. Any number of ridiculous things. So sheep was just one more notch on the belt.
There's also another big property that you've been in between, which is, assuming Wikipedia and IMDb and all those places are right, would be Dissidia.
That's hit the market, right?
Yes.
It has, yeah, I kind of snuck in sideways into the Final Fantasy universe. I think they did a remake of Final Fantasy IV a couple of years back for a handheld, and I got to voice Kane in there, and so it was just an automatic phone ring when that game came around, and I got to spar and kick Allie Hills' butt and get my butt kicked by hers. So that was nice as well. And anytime I get to be a part of Final Fantasy, like I played Red 13 for his whopping one line in Advent Children. I played Final Fantasy VII. It was one of the most memorable gaming experiences of my younger days, and played 7, 8, 9, 10. 10-2, right around there is when I started getting a little too busy to plug away 50 hours. But I've loved all those games, so it's been a real pleasure. It's sort of a lot of us who grew up on video games and got into the business. Laura Bailey's a lot like this too. These video games and a lot of animation projects, they were sort of our myth and lore growing up. We looked up to these characters and just fed on it. And now to be 35 years old and getting to be a part of all of them and sort of joining that the Final Fantasy universe it's sort of mind blowing. So I just hope that nobody figures out. Every actor is like, oh God, how did I get here? I hope no one asked me to leave. Cross my fingers, and that hasn't happened yet. So hopefully it won't.
Well, the video game industry, at least in Los Angeles, has just been getting bigger and bigger.
Mm.
Have you noticed that it just seems almost like tenfold from like 10 years ago in comparison to a lot of other media?
Yeah, well, I think that the industry itself is exploding and growing, and it's gone from what were video games when in the 80s into the 90s have evolved so much, and they at least have large filmic components to them when they're obviously not films, but since the stakes have been up so much, they've sort of circled the wagons around Los Angeles where films are made because they're borrowing actors. I know there used to be, I think, more work done in New York, and there still is, and there in some of the other states as well. But you're right, it is sort of gravitating to Los Angeles. Although, great work out of Canada, Deus Ex just hit, and that's from what I've seen is mind-boggling. So there's still places out there besides here.
And now with video games, you get to do the fun motion capture, and you also get to explode your voice commonly.
Explode is an interesting choice of word. It's very apt. Yeah, and it's sort of like pioneer times here. Nobody's doing the work the same way. Some people say, oh, we got to do the voice track first, and then we'll have our guys mocap to it. No, that's ridiculous. We'll mocap everything and then lay the voice on top of that. There's no two companies who are doing the same thing, and no one's really figured out what the routine is yet. So there's a lot of sort of exploration and trial and error going on, and it's like the beginning of the film industry, really. And how far away could we possibly be from the holodeck? I'm just waiting for, I don't know, are we 10 years out when I'm walking around inside the video game? I'm going to guess 10 to 15.
Well, I have to say with technology, evolving as fast as it does, I'm not surprised that no company can pick the right way to do it, because next week they found another more interesting way to do it and they'll do it for the next game.
Yeah.
But now we actually heard that you were having last time we tried to schedule this, you had like a really hefty military session, so you still actually have some problems sometimes where you yell too much, correct?
Oh yeah. Blame it on the rise of the first-person shooter, which, as we all know, is not just some passing fad. It's the new big thing. Everyone wants the next Call of Duty or Killzone or something in that genre, and just more and more of my workload is not even playing like the leads in these games. They all have 30 to 50 soldiers in them, so they need a lot of guys to come in and yell, fighters 1 o'clock, fighters 2 o'clock, fighters 3 o'clock, just iterations, different versions. Give me 10 small damages, 10 medium damages, 10, oh my god, my head flew off damages. So you're just in the booth for 4 hours, sort of raking yourself over the coals. And this didn't exist when we had, Qbert or Final Fantasy VII. So it's this new direction that video games are going in, and it's becoming like, I don't know, 30 or 40% of my work these days, where some of us say, you're not working on a video game unless you're screaming, and you might have all your cutscenes, which could be some shouting, some whispering, some love scenes, some intense scenes, but you've got this Excel spreadsheet. You'll get an Excel spreadsheet that is full of all your damage, all your attack, all your battle cries, stuff like that, and that stuff is strenuous. And I used to think, excuse me, I'm kind of recovering from another military session. I used to think that I was just like the one guy in LA who didn't know how to do it safely. I thought, oh my gosh, maybe everyone else has figured it out and I'm just doing something wrong. And one day I had an epiphany. I worked on a game, which I won't tell you what the title was, but I walked in and we started off. It was a 4-hour session, which is generally too long, in my opinion, to be doing soldier shouts. And I just started hacking away at it and yelling about tanks and choppers. And we're about an hour in and we switched over to quiet lines, and I was a little puzzled because it was sort of different than what I was used to. And I said, are we now switching to quiet entirely? Oh no, we'll go back to loud. Oh, and they looked at me and they could see that I was sort of taken aback. And I, for that split second, was like, oh my gosh, I'm the one guy. Maybe there's some sort of operatic trick. And then I said, how long have you guys been doing this? Is this like week 3 or 4? Are you halfway through? And they're like, oh no, this is the first day. So instantly I knew I was their guinea pig, and just over time, I've learned, and we all talk about war stories, the voice actors, about, oh my gosh, this job was so hard, they had me go forever, and it was insane, and they wanted 5 takes of everything. Or there are companies out there, though, who are smart, and through experience, they realize that the human body only can take so much punishment, so they keep their sessions shorter, and they don't have you do, they organize it better, where you start with your low dialogue and move to your bigger stuff, and then you end with getting shot in the face, because that's the hardest stuff to do. Pioneer times, man.
Well, I have to wonder, is it difficult sometimes, because of the creative ways you die in video games, to think, okay, now how would I sound if I got impaled with a spear?
Yeah, and we get directions like that. You'll lay a few out and they'll go, all right, that was great, but now give me a variation where a giant battle axe is splitting you from your neck down to your navel. Go. They don't, also as a player, I understand as a player, you don't want to hear, as your character gets hit, you don't want to hear, yeah. You want to hear different, you need variety to make it give the illusion of, being real. So they always go for lots of variations. So you're hearing, 5 to 15 different versions of the same thing, so it doesn't get old fast.
I actually had a conversation about this with my brother, who lately he's been over and he's playing like The Sims and Civilization, and they actually don't speak, English words. They speak like Simlish, like abba. And he was like, why can't I never get tired of what they're saying? It's because it's not English. Mm-hmm. Just like you can't really get tired of reaction sounds so much because they change them up all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of interesting. It's one of the smart things the gaming industry is doing, so we're not getting bored.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, all the actors are going, oh, under the weight of 1,000 military games. But we manage. You just have to be careful with your schedule and make sure that you're try at least to do your heavier stuff at the end of the week, so that if you have, I don't know, like I had a commercial last week. I had to do a war game, and then I had 2 days to rest and do nothing, so that when I walked in to work on a commercial and just talk on mic exactly like I am now, the day after that military session, I was all scratchy and hoarse, and no one would want to use me. So you have to kind of pace yourself and plan your schedule out really carefully.
Now, do you have any sort of secret remedies to help your voice?
Time mostly, but there is this, I can't remember what it's called. There's this Chinese goop called Nam Yam Pop Pop and Pop. I can't remember what the name of it is. We all jokingly call it crushed kittens. I've seen it showing up in a few studios, and it says viscous black goo from China, that it tastes like cough medicine on steroids, and it just coats the throat. And I know one guy who gets hired to voice zombies and beasts and all kinds of crazy things because he's got a huge voice, but he just carries around a bottle and just sort of sips at it all through this session. He'll go like, "Rah, yeah!" 1 second, bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, let's go. Rah!
That seems like the most sought after remedy. I have to, find that one day, and just so I have it and I know what it's called.
Yeah, I would like a bionic larynx, some sort of cybernetic prosthesis, and I would gladly give up the chunk of flesh between my head and my chest if that would help me bellow away for hours on end.
Now, since we're still talking about video games, one thing I wanted to ask, because we haven't gotten a chance to ask anybody from the Persona series about it yet, but there was actually a Persona 3 portable that was released, and the fans were curious if you guys had to re-record any of your lines for that.
That one came out too, yeah?
Yeah, that's come out. I think last year.
Yeah, we definitely did recording for that. I wish I could remember more of the details, but I know that we went in and revisited the whole thing. So,
because we have a lot of big Persona fans, and we were wondering, well, did they obviously had to re-record the whole new scenes, but did they have to record all the sounds over again?
I honestly I can't remember. I'm blessed enough to be busy, so sometimes some of the games kind of wash together, but I know that we went in and I know we recorded a decent amount, so probably went over the whole thing again, but I'm not sure.
Well, that must be cool for you, though, to see a series basically be redone, and you get to go in the booth again and be that character again.
Yeah, everyone loves not just that game, but the whole Persona series. I don't go to conventions as much as some of my peers because of work/kids, but when I do go, there's always a ton of Persona costumes, and people bring their discs and the game boxes and stuff to sign, and I get it. I mean, the art style is just so cool for that series. I see there's a fighting game coming out, which I think would mean an automatic gig for me, and I look forward to that. But it's just real hipster cool.
Yeah, there's I can't remember what the fighting game is called, but I know it's mostly supposed to be Persona 4 characters, with Persona 3 characters being secret characters, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think the only one they've revealed from Persona 3 is Aegis. I never say her name right. The robot.
Right.
Yeah.
that just hit the web, so I'm sure they're only showing us the tip of the iceberg.
Probably, but that'll be a lot of fun too for the fans. And now I'm sort of I'm interested in the fact that I've just started playing Persona 3. Yeah, there goes my geek cred. Because I'm one of those people that plays games in order. So Persona 1, Persona 2, Persona 3, even though they have nothing to do with each other. But you play a really interesting character that's a little cold. But you probably don't find that difficult because you do get a lot of characters that can be kind of heartless, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened. I mean, I guess I do. Just the quality of my voice. Not that I don't ever play heroes. I do occasionally play the leading man, but I just, I have a bit more of a nasally, strange voice, which I just think is better suited for villains or quirkier characters, left of center guys. And, it's not really that much of a bummer because I get to choose scenery quite a bit, so I dig it. And
you get to play characters like Ward. I mean, he's pretty tough.
Yeah. 15-year-old Liam back in high school would never, ever believe it.
That must must be kind of neat to reflect on that though, and like being in all these geekdom, really, like the comic books, the video games, and I mean, if you would have known that when you were a teenager, I mean, you would have thought you were pretty cool, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh, I would not have been able to believe it. In my experience, there's two kinds of actors who work in games. Actors who didn't play games and get here and go, what's going on? I'm a ninja? All right, just tell me what I'm doing. And then those of us who grew up on it, I played games as a kid. I was a geek. I am a geek, and just to get kissed in is a dream come true. I definitely love my job.
Well, I'm sure the fans are very happy to know that you're a nerd just like us.
Big fat nerd. And speaking of the big guys, I was voicing another big guy on a game that I can't talk about yet, but I saw a trailer come out, and I emailed the director, who's a friend, and said, look at this. Have you seen this? Dude, when the action figure comes out, I want it. And he emailed back, dude, you are an action figure. So I've saved that email and probably will forever.
Watch next week, a fan comes out with a Liam O'Brien action figure. Start selling it on eBay.
You'd have to be able to swap in and out voice chips or something.
And now on the subject of anime, before I get too distracted with video games, that's something that's sort of been, I guess, getting smaller in Los Angeles. Most of the work has gone, it seems like, to Dallas or other places.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's no question. Just Los Angeles is a more expensive city for everything, for houses, for work, for everything, for apartments, everything. So I think the cost of doing something in LA is a little bit more, and so it's not as simple as that. I mean, there was an anime bubble over the last decade, and every show in the universe was getting scooped up because anime was hot. So everyone's like, oh, I'll get this, look at this. And a lot of it was not very marketable, maybe in the States. So they had all these properties, and suddenly they had all this product, but no demand for it. And the business sort of retracted, and no one could spend any money on it. And so there's not a lot of anime done in Los Angeles anymore. There's Naruto and Bleach, and I work on both of those. And there have been a couple others, but predominantly Funimation sort of owns the market now. And I know a lot of good people over there. They do great work. But that's just how the chip sort of fell.
Well, at least you still get to practice, dubbing over things.
Yeah, and there's I mean, still anime does get done, and it's funny, it doesn't pay as much as some of the other things, other sort of VO work do. It's probably at the bottom of the poll in that respect, but I always love returning to it, because for me it's kind of like going to the gym as a voice actor. It's the hardest medium to work in because you've got this pre-existing picture. It's not like when you work on a game or an animation, most of the time, sky's the limit. The only thing holding you back is your imagination. So you can take as little time or as much time, or you can do anything you want with it. But when you're working on anime, you've got a locked picture, dude, and you got to squeeze it in there and pause when he pauses and get going when he goes, and try to make it sound like good Shatner acting as opposed to bad Shatner acting.
I love that. Good Shatner. I'm going to remember that one. Now, obviously, for the fans out there, is there any projects that you're working on that you can talk about, or any projects that recently came out that you want them to know about? You're like, I have to think about that one.
I see, I do have to think about it. I honestly don't think I can. This year has been very, I've still been doing a lot of VO, but I've been directing one game all year. So that has swallowed up a decent amount of my time. And I would think there'd probably be a few more things coming out right now if I hadn't been in the director's chair most of the year. So there's definitely stuff coming, but it's still under wraps.
Well, at the same time, that's a whole nother experience on itself, because you get to judge other people instead of be judged.
Oh yeah. It's easier in some respects, not in others. And now I'm the one who has to drag the actors over the coals for all of their battle and monstery stuff. So.
Well, at least you understand how it is.
Yeah, and they know it. They know that I've been kicked around myself, so it helps when it comes from me sometimes, I think. Well, it's kind of quirky, but I'm doing my latest round of Wonderful Pistachio ads just came out, and they're funny.
I think you just started those the first time we talked.
Yeah, I had, and I recorded year number 3's set about a month ago, and the first 5 of 8 hit the web, and they're just smart and funny. And one of them is got Angry Birds in it. One has got the Winklevoss twins from the guys who say they invented Facebook, and a monkey. And some other things as well. Oh, but I think they put out a press release that said all of them. If you keep your eyes open, the honey badger. Some of you might know the honey badger video from the YouTubes. He's in one of them, and Kermit the Frog.
Very nice. And now for the fans out there, is there any places on the interwebs where they can stalk you in a nice way?
Oh, sure. You can start at my website, which is liamobrien.biz. liamobrien.biz, and that will lead you to Twitter, where my handle is Voice of O'Brien. I think it's the same on Facebook. I have a fan page on there. But there's an email on the website. If anyone wants to ask me any questions or kick any ideas back and forth, you can reach me there.
And do you have any conventions that you're going to for those brave souls who want to watch you from the bushes?
Well, if you want to hitch a ride to Dublin, Ireland, you will be able to see me at Airticon in November. I just did SAC Anime in Sacramento. Then the next one up is Ireland. And after that, I don't have anything scheduled. If you guys want to see me there or any of your favorite actors there, just make sure you let your conventions know.
That's really lucky you get to go to Ireland. That must be, that's probably going to look beautiful.
Oh yeah, I've been there before and I love it. It's gorgeous. And so I sort of extended it into a larger trip with my family. We're going to plunk around for a week before we go. And then I'm looking forward to meeting people in Naruto and Sasuke cosplay talking in an Irish brogue. That will be nice.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
Keep listening and don't stick your face into a cobra's hole.
That does seem like good sound advice.
That's good advice. Don't do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna say that's good. So if any of you out there missed any of this interview, don't fret. It'll be up on the website a little bit later. And thank you very much for today. This was a lot of fun.
My pleasure.